It's a crazy world we live in. I mean, like I've said this before, I'm not going to cry that the world is dystopian. I'm not going to roll over and do nothing about it. I want to talk to people. I want to get my ideas out there of how we could change these things. I truly think that if I could lead a discussion about like anything, I could get any two people to common ground. I could get them both to see the world how it is, or make rules that would help the world, or I think recently I realized, you know, everyone has something that they're better than most people at. Everyone's got something that they're worse than most people at, so they also should have something they're better than most people at. I think that's true for most people. That's why most people find a job that they like, that they enjoy, that people think they're good at. And, I guess not everyone, but my point is, I think I've realized what I tend to be better at than most people in recent months. I feel like it really just dawned on me yesterday, or in the last few days, that I feel like I can make comparisons and metaphors that explain the world better than most people. Like, in so many situations, these metaphors or these other situations that are very similar to what I'm currently discussing just pop into my head, and I tell them to people, and they're like, "Wow, that's right. That makes perfect sense to me." And I feel like other people don't tell me metaphors and stuff like that where I'm like, "Wow, that's a really good metaphor." I mean, I've heard it from I've heard them from genius people. They've got some really good metaphors. Like David Bohm has a metaphor about the reality aquarium that's supposed to talk about quantum entanglement. Very complex, very hard metaphor to understand. But the only reason I understand what David Bohm is talking about is because he uses an incredible metaphor to explain it. And if you're interested in that, leave a comment and I'll link you the video. But I'm sure most people aren't interested in that, and um, not too many people are watching these videos yet. So if someone leaves a comment and wants to see the video I'm talking about, I'll do it. But otherwise, I'm not going to do that extra work for nothing. It's another thing I've realized lately is that the idea of being nice is really just it's just makes you weak in a lot of cases, right? Obviously, it's good to be nice. It's good to be nice in a lot of cases, but some people would have said if you just linked the video, that would have been nice, right? If you would have just linked that video instead of saying, all right, if someone wants it, I'll link it. If you would have just linked the video, that would have been nicer. But then, if nobody wants the video, then I just did something for literally nothing. So, be nice, ask people what they want, but don't do things for no reason. Be efficient, save time. I think if you're honest with people about why you want to save time and why you do the things that you do, then people will respect that. And I've noticed that recently. In the last few years, I've started telling people when I don't want to do things, I just say, no, I don't want to do that. And it's been awesome because my friends now understand the things that I want to do, right? I've never been huge on going out, partying, or, going to bars. I don't drink, so I don't really like to go to bars. And my friends will ask me all the time to hang out, or, let's do something tonight. And I'm like, well, what would you be doing? And they're like, what do you mean, what would you be doing? Do you want to hang out or not? And I'm like, well, it depends on what you're doing. I would want to hang out if you do this. I wouldn't want to hang out if you do that. And they're like, you don't just want to hang out with the boys? And I'm like, not really. If we're not going to do something, I don't know. There are activities that I would do with the boys, and there are activities that I wouldn't do with the boys. I mean, I'm just less social than most people. I want to stay in more than most people, so if I'm going to go out, I'm going to go out on the nights where I enjoy the thing that we're doing. With my guys, I go to the gym with them like most days, and I'll hang out at people's houses, play cards, or just talk. Those are the things I like doing socially. But I've just started telling my friends like I don't like going to bars. I don't like doing these things, and I don't. They're like, you want to go to the bar with us tonight? And I'm like, no, I just don't want to. And it has been incredibly freeing, and not just freeing, but it's helped me learn so much about myself. Like now that I've tried to be more and more genuine and real as much as possible, and the things I've learned about myself and life from that are pretty incredible. I mean, reality is refreshing. Reality is it's very calming. I mean, the first step into reality might be cold. It's like getting into a cold pool. If you just dip your toes in, it's like, whoa, I don't like that. But if you just jump in, you feel so much better after just a few minutes. You're like, oh, this feels great. My body is adjusting to this new reality in the quickest and best way. And you see, here's another example of me making a pretty good metaphor. I feel like, not every metaphor is perfect. That probably doesn't make sense to some people, but, if you want to look at the realities of life and you just try to look at a few, like, oh, kids get cancer for no reason. Ooh, I don't want to go to reality. Sure. Then the reality sucks. But if you look at reality as a whole, it can be beautiful. It can be painful. It can make you cry. It can make you laugh. It can make you smile. Reality has all of that, and you need all of that. Like I've also talked about how you need the sad to understand the happy. And I also think the more sad you get, the more happy you can get. The more happy you get, the more sad you can get. It's kind of just like both sides of the same coin. Like the more times you can get heads, the more times you can get tails. If you flip a coin 1,000,000,000 times, if you keep flipping the coin more and more times, you can get more heads and tails. You can always find more good and bad, and the more you get one, the more you can get the other. Balance is just an incredible thing that I've also been paying attention more and more to in life. And, the more real I am, the more genuine, the more honest I am with people, the more balanced my life tends to become. And sometimes it's hard to be honest with people. I can't lie. Sometimes it's hard. I don't want to do it. But I look at those situations like I need to do this. Like anxiety, I treat it like a muscle. Like if you don't exercise your anxiety, it's not going to get stronger. Think of the word anxiety like a bicep in your brain, right? If you don't use your bicep, it's going to get weak. If you don't fight the anxiety, it's going to get stronger. If you don't learn about the anxiety, it's going to get stronger. Like, every time you're in public and you feel like you might want to say something to someone, but you're like, I don't want to bother them, or you feel anxiety, you feel a little heart racing. I think if you try to identify anxiety, it's pretty easy. So like that, where you don't want to say something to someone, you absolutely should. No one's going to get hurt. No one's going to, maybe the person will be like, no, thank you. They don't want to talk or just ignore you. But hey, that's how you work out your anxiety. I'm telling you, the more anxiety you have, the less everything makes you anxious. If you can go through in a situation with incredibly high amounts of anxiety, then the rest of your life will feel pretty easy in comparison. And you'll have less anxiety in the rest of your tasks, and you'll be able to take control of your life just more so. These videos are very odd because I just randomly bounce from topic to topic, but they feel connected to me, and I'm connecting the thoughts well in my brain. So that's what really matters to me. Like I said, being genuine. Like these videos, I'm being genuine. I like talking to myself. I like learning about my own brain and how I understand things. It's like how I was talking about a minute ago. Who you are is not something you know for sure. It's something you figure out along the way. And I really hate quotes like that. They sound so cringe and stupid and meaningless, but it's true. And, now that I'm trying to be more genuine, I try to just take the reality in everything, no matter how cringe or boring or whatever it is. I'm trying to be real. And I think I've noticed that a lot with music, too. I like to listen to classical music now. It's kind of just been my genre of music for the last seems like a year at least or something, but... before in school, it's like, oh, you're not going to listen to classical music with your friends. That's, like, weird. That's boring. Or that's, but now it's like, I'm not going to play classical music at my parties or, when I have friends over. But when I'm in the car, when I'm by myself, I listen to it all the time. It puts me in the best mood. And that has a lot of value, being able to put yourself in a good mood for free. Happiness has incredible value. And that's why so many people have dogs. They serve little to no purpose other than happiness. And contagious happiness. They bring good vibes. And if you don't think happiness has numerical value, then I don't know what to tell you, but it does. Not everything has a numerical value like a business, but we pay for dogs because they bring value. We don't just buy these dogs just because we want another roommate to live in the house for no reason. We like dogs, or a lot of us like dogs, because they're friendly, they're happy, and they bring some contagious happiness. And happiness is incredibly valuable. So I also think I need to do a better job of forcing myself to be happy. Like, There are times where I'm having anxious thoughts, I'm worrying, and I know that these are unproductive thoughts. These thoughts don't get me anywhere in life. So recently I've been better than I ever have been about saying, all right, these thoughts are anxiety, unproductive. I'm going to play some chess, or I'm going to put all my anxious thoughts into something that develops a skill, develops some intelligence, something like that. And it's not always easy. The first few times I did it, it was like, oh, I'm worrying, but let me just start thinking about this and start thinking about this. Oh, and then I start worrying again. But you just keep breaking that. Every time you start worrying again, you break it as fast as you can, and you think back to what's something I could do right now that I would enjoy, or what's something that I could do to put this anxiety to work. And especially the way that started for me actually was when I'm feeling that anxiety, I think about what would my perfect day be like tomorrow, which was genuinely a great thing to think about for my anxiety, right? Like if you're going to think about worrying and all the bad things that are going to happen, you owe it to balance, you owe it to life to at least think about all the good things that could happen, the best case scenario. And, just like how thinking of anxious, worrying thoughts make you anxious, thinking about what you would do tomorrow if you had infinite time and money it's very exciting. It makes you feel good, It's like, what would you do with $1 billion? Who doesn't want to think about that? Like, if I had $1 billion, I'd go buy some house, get the boys together at a super house for a few years or something. That's just happy. That's like happy thoughts. To me, that's like the opposite of anxiety. And, the more I think about balance in life, the more I realize you need the opposites. You need both ends of the spectrum for almost everything. So if you're going to worry yourself, you owe it to yourself to make yourself happy too. It's weird. We have a word like that. Like, we can worry ourselves, but we can't, like, happy ourselves, like, excite ourselves, I guess. Something like that, yeah. That's kind of what I'm saying. So, happiness is incredibly valuable. And just like, studies have shown that people who are happier, they're healthier, they're more physically healthy, physiologically healthy, they're less likely to have obviously they're less likely to have mental health problems, but more productive. Like, all metrics get better when people are happy. So it's like I have to force myself to be happy. Like, that would make me the most productive and make my life the best. Like, it's like how you force yourself to go to the gym. I just have to force myself to be happy. Like, it would be the best for me. Like, if I want to be the best chess player, I got to be happy. If I want to be the best UFC fighter, I got to be happy. Like, not that I want to do these things, but if I were to, you have to be happy. You can't hate what you do and be the best at it. I mean, shit. Jokic. Nikola Jokic kind of ruins that. I mean, I don't think Nikola Jokic actually hates his job. I mean, he wishes he could just get up every day and do whatever, but he looks like he likes it out there. He's breaking down the game. He's learning. Like, he's too into it to not enjoy it at least a little bit. Anyway, the value of happiness is just inconceivable. I mean, it's pretty cool. But it can be very hard to force yourself to be happy. I know that most people say, like, oh, it's just not that easy to be happy. But, yeah, it's not easy to force yourself to turn happy. But to think about happy thoughts is very easy. And it won't change just like that. Like, oh, you don't think about happy thoughts and then instantly you're happy. No. You need to start with, at least I would say you start with thinking about your perfect day. What would you do tomorrow if you could wake up and do anything? And not just because that's happy to think about, but because that helps you realize the things that you value in life and maybe would help steer you towards your perfect career. And I think it's doing that for me. It's helping me find, like, what would I want to do every day if I could do anything. And also just thinking about what would I do every day if I had infinite money. And it's fun to think about, so